Hey everyone, okay, so today I'm going to be giving you some makeup tips that I received directly from Charlotte Tilbury. And before I get on with the tips, let me tell you how it all happened. So, before Charlotte launched her makeup line, and I obviously knew who she was long before any makeup line, I reached out to her PR department because I had heard that there was going to be a makeup line and it was really kind of quiet about it. And they got back to me and said, yes, there will be a makeup line and she's going to be doing some press. And this was months and months before anything got released. And would you like to come along to it? And I thought, fantastic. So I went to London and I went to Charlotte's studio, which is in London. And there was this really huge table and all of these journalists were there. And then there was me, just a single makeup artist there as well. And she came into the room and I just remember being absolutely blown away by just what you see on YouTube is exactly as she is. She's exactly like that in real life. She is incredibly passionate and incredibly inspiring. And it was the most incredible morning hearing about how she created these products, what she was trying to achieve. And it was just so mesmerizing and inspiring to listen to it. And for some of you who may or may not know, I use a lot of Tom Ford products. And Charlotte Tilbury was responsible for the Tom Ford makeup line. She was the genius behind that line. And a lot of people don't know that, but it's true, she was. And so I had this incredible day and the line launched and it was phenomenal, as you all know, and I use all of it. And then what happened is I contacted Charlotte's people and I said to them, do you think I could hire Charlotte for a day? I would like to be taught by her. I would like her to teach me everything that she knows. And I had no idea what they were going to say. And they were like, yeah, sure. So what happens is fast forward is the end of December. And this is years ago now. And I'm only just speaking about it. And it was the end of December. And the date came up and I went to London and I got to spend the entire day with Charlotte and she allowed me to film the entire day and the model and everything that she was doing. So I could not only watch it there live, but I had a reference point when I came home so I could absorb all the information that was being given. And I'm going to be sharing with you now the tips that I learned from that day. So let's make a start. First thing was the moisturizer. Charlotte used a huge amount of moisturizer, and this is something I've talked about before. She used an incredible amount, more than I've ever seen, not only on the face, on the neck, down the arms, anything that was visible, because you can't have, if you've got a really matte face, but then there's lots of shine on the arms. Charlotte likes everything to be very cohesive, so there was an incredible amount of moisturizer and then an incredible amount of Wonder Glow put on as well. Another tip is that sometimes she will also apply Wonder Glow over the foundation as well to give the skin an extra shine, depending on the look that you're going for. But the amount of moisturizer was key because it gave the skin an incredibly dewy look. So the next thing was that she allowed the moisturizer to sink into the skin. After she'd applied it, she would comb through the lashes, she would comb through the brows. This gives the moisturizer time to absorb. This goes on to the second thing, which is foundation. She used a foundation brush to apply the makeup with, but she then used her fingers. She blended everything with her hands and her fingers. With concealer, she used her fingers. There was not a single sponge used the entire day. So that was just, because, you know, we're all beauty blender. She just used her hands. Everything was blended in. Then, this is the key bit. She moved on and combed through the brows again, combed through the lashes. She scrubbed the lips to make sure that they were soft for the application of lipstick later on. And while that was being done, it allowed the foundation time to set naturally on the skin, because foundation, if you put some on your hand and go away, it starts to set. And that's the key, because then she could use much less powder, because she tends to powder just the T-zone only. But because she's left that time, nothing's moving when you're applying the powder because it's already preset. So that was really interesting, because I always wondered how she was able to apply blusher to say this area when she hadn't powdered it, and it's because she took the time to allow it to set or preset before applying powder down the center. So that was just incredible. Again, minimal powder, as I mentioned, down the T-zone. Charlotte almost always, at least for training with me, elongates the brow. And the reason being is because she quite likes, very fond of the cat eyes by pulling the eye out. And if you don't elongate the brow, because then the tail of the eyeshadow meets the tail of the brow, and I've talked about this lots in videos, but that way you get the illusion of wider set eyes, of more feline eyes. So always about elongating the brow. She also mentioned about face shapes as well. If the face shape is longer, then she will make the eyeshadow underneath the eye thicker to compensate for that, to kind of shorten the face in that kind of regard. The same if you've got a very, very small face, it would be much smaller underneath. With regards to eye shape, the same principles were actually pretty much the same. Charlotte, as far as I'm aware, she will use shimmer on anybody at any time, regardless of whether they've got hooded eyes or aging eyes. It doesn't matter. She's a fan of shimmer. And I found as well with clients that tends to be when you reach over 40, women tend to start loving shimmer even more. And it really is about how they feel. And that's something that I took into consideration because I was always very much about matte shades on the eyes. And I realized that if something makes you feel good, that's really what's most important. Another thing that she did that I almost never did was she sharpened a pencil. When she was doing the eyeliner and lip liner, when she was doing the lip liner, she sharpened a pencil, she would draw the outline here, then she sharpened a pencil, then she'd draw the bottom and she'd sharpen it again. So it was like 4 times to complete the lip. When doing the eye, she sharpened it at least twice to get that eyeliner perfect. She also used Q-tips a lot by dipping them into either foundation, Wonder Glow or Magic Cream to clean up any edges around the lips, underneath the eyes, whatever needed doing. She was also a fan of something, actually this is totally different, but she has her own brush line, and for eyeshadow brushes she basically has 2, a pencil brush and a crease brush. And when I first met her, my brushes were already in production. They'd already been made. They were just waiting to be shipped. And when I saw her 2 brushes, I was like, thank God, because I didn't have any flat eyeshadow brushes in my original collection. They were all crease brushes. And I said to her, why don't you have any flat brushes? And she literally reiterated what I said. They're just too hard to work with. With a crease brush, you can do the lid work, you can do the crease work, you can blend with it. And I was like, oh. And it made me feel better about how I use brushes, because I only use crease brushes to apply eyeshadow with, never flat brushes. But anyway, and finally, and I think because the tips that I gave you are honestly, true tips that I received from her, is with regards to the powdering, because it's T-zone application powdering, and because the foundation has already preset, at the end of the makeup, Charlotte tends to look at the face and see if there's any more powder necessary and where those areas might be necessary. But it's almost always in the T-zone. During my time with her and watching her, because I've got to film videos with her as well for YouTube, she never once applied any excess powder around the perimeter of the face, but she would use bronzer and highlighter, but she would never pre-powder those areas because of that setting process. And that's it. That's the tips that I learned from her. And it's incredible. I've still got the video. It's just a wonderful, wonderful reference point for me. And she's such a good, honest, decent person as well. And what you see is truly what you get. When you watch her, you're inspired because she's so knowledgeable about her skill. And it comes across. And her willingness to share all her tips and secrets with everyone is what sets her apart from a lot of makeup artists. There you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.